Okay, so I'll try and make this brief, as brief as I can. This video is to give the one realization that I have come to, which has been the most helpful in helping me to separate from the borderline and continue my recovery towards being happy and healthy away from that. So this is my channel for those non-borderlines who have gotten into a romantic relationship with a borderline. You're either still in the relationship or you've been in one and you're trying to recover. As you know, being with a borderline is an incredibly painful, difficult, just absolutely befuddling, unbelievably tortuous, horrific, painful thing. You know, easily the most painful relationship I've ever been in. And that's saying a lot. And the one thing that has been most helpful for me in realizing that has helped me to continue in my recovery and my psychological separation as I've continued to heal is the knowledge that, number one, they are mentally ill. They're not just disturbed, they're not just having problems, they're not going through things. They're not somebody who just needs to learn how to be loved, and if they can just, have the experience of being loved, they'll get better. None of those normal things apply to them. They are mentally ill. So that means, somebody who's mentally ill is somebody who does not operate from the same rules that the rest of us do, and somebody who does not perceive reality in the same way that the rest of us do. And if you can stop making excuses for them and accept that they are in fact mentally ill, that's the first thing. Second thing is, for me, now having looked back on it, I guess there's three things here. The second one is there was never any real relationship. That anything that I thought was a true connection was my own delusion. I was projecting onto the relationship what I wanted to have happen, but it really wasn't. That the borderline cannot see you. They do not have normal human empathy. They can't see you as an individual. They're not capable. So they don't see you. So the idea that he or she loves you because they see you, they acknowledge your presence, they don't have that ability. They're very good at faking it. They're very good at approximating it, but they don't actually feel it, which is why it's so easy for them to walk away. The third thing, and this is the biggest one, this is the one that really, has helped me throughout my continued recovery. I might even be willing to say I'm recovered from that, but I'm not totally ready to say it yet. That third thing is the knowledge that what I seek in a relationship is intimacy and bonding. And that the borderline also seeks the experience of intimacy and bonding. But it is that experience of intimacy and bonding and vulnerability that forces them to leave you. So it is doomed. The relationship is doomed. It's just a question of when it becomes intolerable for you. And apparently from some people, they can stay in these relationships for years. Thankfully for me, the woman I was with was so severely borderline that she sabotaged relationships. They would only last for a short period of time, and then she would destroy them, and destroy them so much that they couldn't be repaired. And so, and now that's me looking back on her talking about exes. And I'm realizing now that I'm one of them. You know, she did the exact same thing to me that she did to all of those guys. So, thankfully for me, she destroyed relationships beyond repair. And she did that with ours. I forgot what I was saying. But thing that I think is most important to understand is that the intimacy and the bonding and the vulnerability that you are seeking to create with them, which they want, is the very thing that will force them to destroy the relationship. And you know, I saw a comment somebody wrote on here is, you know, just keep things superficial with them and you'll be okay. You won't be able to do that because they're not interested in a superficial relationship. They're not capable of anything other than a superficial relationship. But they're not interested in a superficial relationship. They're interested in creating intimacy and bonding. But that very thing that they seek out is going to be the very reason that they split on you. And if you can see that, that's what makes it crazy for you, is that. Because for somebody who's not a borderline, the intimacy and the bonding creates a further relationship. It creates consistency going forward. It creates commitment and love going forward. And so what's happening is that as you give, when they reach in there, as you know that they can do, and they pull out all of the intimacy and the love, they make you feel so safe, they make you feel so, you know, like they see you and love you and are committed to you, and then you release your fear and you let yourself become vulnerable, and then they just feast on that. You're lying in that thinking, okay, now I've finally reached her, it's going to be okay. But it's that very experience of intensity that creates the absolute fear and terror of abandonment in them, which forces them to see you as an enemy because they're trying to protect themselves. They are insane. They cannot avoid that. And the crazy making part is they seem to want to connect with you, but that desire to connect with you is the very thing that will drive them away. And that's why you're going crazy. It doesn't make sense because other people don't do that. Other people are afraid of intimacy in the beginning. They have it backwards. They're afraid of intimacy in the beginning, and then when they learn to trust you, they open up, and the more they open up, the stronger the bond becomes and the relationship goes forward. You are wired to operate that way. And so it is confusing when following the rules that happens with normal human mental relationship evolution. When you follow those normal rules and they are acting opposite to that, it makes you feel like you're going crazy. So if you can understand that the intimacy is what drives them away and the intimacy is what they want, it creates this cycle. That's what they keep coming back for. After they've chewed you up and spit you out and thrown you aside, what's going to happen is that they're going to start to jones for the intimacy again, and you're the closest thing. This is the other thing too. If they're reaching out to you, you're the closest and most available fix. It's like a drug addict. You know, if the drug addict is there and there's, you know, there's their connection is next door, they'll walk next door and pay twice as much than, you know, get on the phone and drive a half an hour to somebody else. They're going to go to the most, you know, the closest fix that they have. So if they keep reaching out to you, it's because you're the closest fix that they have. You know, some of you know, they drop you and they get into another relationship as quickly as possible. They'll kick you out of the house and then move somebody in. And you're like, what just happened? We were going to get married a week ago and now you're living with this guy in my house? They've got a new fix that's closer, and you're right, they have no awareness of you. You have no value to them. They're not thinking to themselves, gosh, I was with that person for X amount of time. In fact, it's quite the opposite. They'll go, I was with that person for X amount of time and he was horrible to me. I'm thinking about it now. I'm remembering all of the things that she said to me about her exes. And I would love to get together with them and just sit down with them and have them tell me, yeah, I don't know what she's talking about. I did this for her. I did that for her. I was doing this for her. And then she did this. And yeah, I got angry with her that one time and I threw the coffee mug against the wall or whatever it was. And that's the thing that they use. He threw a coffee mug at the wall. He's he's so angry. So I'm kind of babbling on and on, but the point is that that's the crux of it. The intimacy and the bonding which they crave and which you want, which you think creates consistency and creates a bond and commitment. That intimacy creates a vulnerability which then triggers their fear of abandonment, and then they have to project onto you what they are about to do to you. That's the thing. They project onto you what they are going to do to you. They blame you for doing what they are just about to do. It's craziness. Get out. It's the only way. There's never hope. Please don't put any hope in the relationship ever fixing itself. Let go and get help. I talked about it in the other video. Go to 12-step groups, go to Codependence Anonymous, work the steps, get a sponsor, get a therapist, and start working with that, and do the work to learn how to love yourself and figure out why you chose them in the beginning, because nobody chooses a borderline unless they're broken too. All right? So with that, I'll shut up. Best of luck to you.